G'day Simon, g'day Mitch. Simon, just to start with, what's your thoughts on the game and how the guys got a win out there today?
I'm not going to lie, man. I really don't know what happened out there today. We just met as a coaching staff. We're a little... our preparation probably wasn't great this week, and it showed early. We didn't get up and down the floor at all. We're trying to protect a few bodies, and I think Dino may have alluded to this with Melbourne United yesterday, and it takes its toll. Your physicality isn't in place when you're not getting up and down the floor. And, I just felt like it was a really strange game. Obviously, huge ebbs and flows. I think it's one of those ones, when I sit down tonight, I'll probably have a better understanding of really what took place, but it was a struggle for us. Like the foul differential early, we couldn't keep them off the line, we couldn't keep them out of the paint, we couldn't keep them off second shots, we couldn't make a paint shot to save ourselves. And then all of a sudden, we came back pretty quick, but we couldn't get ahead. And then when we finally got ahead, we ran with it. So it's a strange game, man.
Simon, with that, you mentioned that strange game, the ebbs and flows. In this tournament where you're not going to have probably as much training time, having more games, that sort of thing, are you just going to have to find guys or find ways to snap back into matches when you find those sort of struggle points that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I think so. This is tournament play, so it's going to be a lot of video review and resting bodies and just trying to get guys healthy for the next game. What troubled me probably a little bit tonight was just, even with all the video review we did, it was like we were looking at them for the first time when we were out on the floor. Like, we just didn't adhere to the scout at all early doors, and it cost us. So I expect better of our team and our guys in that regards, and they've been pretty good to this point. But I just thought we were way off target early in the game.
Olgan Ulich, ESPN.
Hey Mitch, when you guys went down early in that first quarter and throughout that first quarter, how much did you take it upon yourself to kind of will the team back, not just as far as putting points on the board, but also emotionally sort of getting them into the game?
I think it's just one of those things, you got to try and find your moments to be whatever you think everyone else, can benefit from. I haven't felt like I've been super aggressive this season. Like, to see that I shot 20 shots, I feel like I shot way too much. I shot some really shit shots as well tonight, which Simon will let me know about this week. But, you just got to try and understand, like, other guys need to feel good about themselves. So celebrating others' success, as simple as just like communicating in timeouts, running plays for certain guys, asking them what they like, making people feel comfortable. But sometimes you do just have to go and be super aggressive, and sometimes they fall. I was lucky that I got a few to go tonight. There were times where, everyone had their moments, I think. I thought Cam was fantastic. I thought he stepped up in big moments. And Kiefer just looking, 14, 10 rebounds, 11 assists. Like, that's, although he didn't go and put on 25 points as we normally have seen him to, like, he played his role perfectly, and that's what we need from this team.
Simon, when you see how aggressive Mitch was and how much he can dominate inside the paint, do you kind of envision what that floor is going to look like when you have someone like Rockoff out there widening that floor even more and allowing Mitch to be more effective in that?
Yeah, obviously we're not thinking too much about Ryan just at this point in time. We're focusing more on the guys that we have in uniform, but Ryan's a pretty special talent. It's not just his ability to stretch the floor. He's got a pretty good mid-range game, and he can go down low as well and score, and he's got his mismatches. Creaky, what he just said is pretty much how he plays every game. And sometimes you guys, I think, confuse aggression with numbers of shots that he gets up. Sometimes he's really aggressive, but he might get 6 dimes out of it, and or it might be the hockey assist, and it doesn't register as being, okay, he wasn't looking for his at the time. Some of these games where the criticisms come with, Creaky hasn't been aggressive. I just don't agree with it. I feel like he's a special talent at the 4. He's a playmaker first and then scorer second. Just the fact that he can score heavily. He's had some success against Brisbane in the pre-season. He knows he can go out and the matches against Brisbane are always tough for both sides of the ball. They're really, really big, but we're pretty mobile. So it's going to be a battle royale, so to speak. And sometimes you're going to come out on top in those one-on-one battles, and sometimes you're not. And Creaky's been probably 3-0 in those one-on-one battles. But having said that, Harry Froling beat up on him a little in the pre-season as well. So it's just one of those things where my expectation of Creaky is to go and lead from the front, defend, rebound, play with pace, and create for us. And if it's creating for himself, then that's great. If it's creating for others, fantastic too.
Dan Boyce.
Pretty great game, mate. But you highlighted the efforts of Keeper tonight, triple-double. Tell us about what it's like to play with him on the court, and I guess everything he brings to the game.
Look, first off, I talk about him as a person. Really lovely, humble, homebody kind of guy. Very proud man from where he's grown up, as we've probably all seen in some of the documentary. The way he plays the game is very unselfish. There's times where we have to tell him to be more aggressive. There's times where we want him to shoot more because, he is playing so well. There's times where he wants to set the team up when he should just go bust ass. We're trying to just find the best way to tell him to go and be an absolute killer, but also to run a team. And it's very hard in this league because of how special some of the other talents are. But to have that issue with a guy isn't an issue at all. It's actually a blessing. And once we really kind of guide him into where he can be excellent every single possession, as we saw tonight, I just think that's probably one of his better games across the board statistically, where 11 dimes in this league is really hard to come by, but to also go and pour on a bunch of points, and 10 boards, he was the catalyst in that third and fourth quarter where we really held that lead, swooping in, getting rebounds. He's the smallest guy on the court, and he's got, I think, the most boards out of everyone on the court, which is, incredible. So I love playing with him. I can't wait to play many more games with him and hopefully for a long time.
Josh from NBL.com.
Mitch, that first quarter when the chips were down and the Bullets were sort of streaking ahead, you looked particularly animated out there and particularly frustrated. Can you tell us what you sort of said to your teammates to help sort of stop the rot and turn it around?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I said. I think there's a few conversations that weren't fantastic, and it's not always about just yelling and trying to bring a bit of that emotion out of yourself sometimes. And for me, I channel it pretty well. I don't get too high. I don't try and get too low. I try and play in a pretty consistent medium. But when you have to try and get that out of you, it does take a lot out of, for me to actually say that and to perk guys up. And sometimes it's easy to talk with a loud tone, but to really have that heart and passion, sometimes it's enough to spark that little fire in someone else, and then they can light their own from there. But sometimes without that spark, people don't have it. We're getting better. We're getting closer. It was just about, honestly, not playing like pussies. We did that against Perth game 1. We turned it around, and we can see what we do when we play tough and we hit first. That was the main point of the conversation. But there was many of those from everyone in the team. Kyle was very good in those huddles and very animated as well, making great points. So we've got to play on the front foot. That punch-first mentality is where we have to live by.
Dan Batten.
Simon, yeah, obviously such a great win, a couple of great wins on the trot now, despite a couple of slow starts. That must be really encouraging, considering you gave up sort of big blows at the start of games, but still been able to come out on top.
It shows a little bit of character. It'd be more encouraging if we didn't give up those leads, to be honest. Start with those, give those leads away. But no, it's certainly character. And I don't think that's a question on our team. It's certainly we questioned ourselves after the first Perth game. But I feel like we've got enough miles on the board to show that we're always going to be in for a fight. And we can give up a little bit of a lead, and we will try and drag ourselves back in. I feel like for us, we just got to be a little bit better to start the games and make sure that we don't give up those leads. I wasn't particularly worried about the scenario. And that's probably the trust the players have built in me, in that when we get down 15, 16, I still feel like, if we can just change a couple of things and do a few things better, we'll get ourselves back in there, especially when it happens early in the game. And I truly believe that in this group. But, yeah, man, really would like to start games well for a change. That'd be
Not bad.
nice.
We got you.
And just quickly on Brock, you mentioned pre-game that he has touched down in Melbourne today. What's the process there for him to essentially get onto the court for the Phoenix?
I'm not sure he's in Melbourne. I think he's just arrived in the country, and he'll serve his quarantine, and then we'll get him on the floor and get him training. I'm not going to throw him out there after one session. Well, I hope not. I'll probably backtrack on that and probably will.
Quote that. Timestamp and quote that. That's
I don't
bullshit.
know. No, I think we've got to be fair to him. And even some of the guys that have come in from overseas and this year, and you've seen the slow starts that some players have had. 14 days in a hotel room is pretty poor preparation to play at basketball at this level. So, we'll sit with Ryan and talk about where he's at physically. He's going to be looking after himself and working out in his room, but I mean, I'm not even worried about his touch. He's going to have his touch straight off the bat. It's really just going to be, does he have his legs and what sort of minutes can he play? And we'll treat him like we do every other player.
And Rue Ward, last question.
Simon, I might have missed something here, but with Gibbo, is there a chance you're getting back for Tuesday, or is he sitting at a little bit?
No, Gibbo won't be back Tuesday. He's going to be out a little while. He's got a little slight tear in his calf, and we've got to get that right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Hey, just a quick one. Just a massive shout out from everyone at the Phoenix, especially Cam as well, to Mika Vukona. Just a phenomenal career. Doesn't get enough acknowledgement for what he's done for the game of basketball, not just in Australia, but New Zealand and worldwide. So massive shout out to Mika. Thanks for all you've done for the sport, mate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, love Mika.